Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, Reverend Sister, ladies and gentlemen, whilst you are finishing off your main courses, I would like to take this opportunity to thank our Fáinne Arrogate sponsors for this event. Our sponsors are MFE Formworks, Pernod Ricard, and the Alice Smith School. Thank you to all our Fáinne Arrogate sponsors. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, Reverend Sister, ladies and gentlemen, can I now request a respectful silence? It is with great pleasure that I call upon His Excellency, the Ambassador of Ireland to Malaysia, Declan Kelly, to make his address.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure to be with you here this evening. Sarah Wheeler-Tan, President of the St. Patrick's Society of Selangor, Her Excellency Vicky Tredell, British High Commissioner, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and most especially Sister Enda Ryan, who is with us here this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the fifth occasion on which I've had the pleasure to address the dinner, and in fact it will be my last, as myself and Anne are leaving Malaysia this year at the end of our posting and returning to Dublin. But I have to say, like a good wine that gets better each year, the St. Patrick's dinner gets better and better. With 90 years of experience behind it, why should that not be the case? But I was just reflecting as I was sitting there that I've been ambassador in Canada, in Australia, and I was consul general in California at one stage. And I was looking at the wonderful, wonderful Irish dancers, and I was thinking that I've seen dancing like that all over Canada, all over Australia, New Zealand, which I also covered, and the western states of the United States, also in Washington, all over the US. And it really is a fantastic tribute to the Irish abroad, the way they keep the culture together. Now the point is about, yes, that's worth a round of applause. The point about all those countries is that they are obviously very big countries and have very large Irish populations. For those of you who don't know, the United States, for example, 44 million people have Irish ancestry, 13% in Australia, 13% in Canada. But in Malaysia, the numbers are much more modest. But what I really like about Malaysia, what I've seen in the last 5 years, is the incredible sense of community. In the 4.5 years myself and Anne have been here, we've seen the work of this dinner, the charity element of this dinner, the charity event that's held by St. Patrick's in May, and also the event that's held at Christmas time. The Embassy is delighted to be associated with that, and has been over the years since it was opened in the late 1990s. So hats off to St. Patrick's. It is a fantastic job. Everybody should take a bow. Sarah mentioned to me that one of the things she really likes is the sense of community here, and that was really on display in the beautiful combination of the Malay and the Irish and the beautiful rendition of the Irish music. But it also really impacts on the embassy in the sense of Irish embassies by their nature, we're a small country, are small, and we could not operate anywhere around the world without the assistance of the community. And since I came here, the St. Patrick's Society, the MIBN, Ron and Mary Anderson are here this evening, the GAA with Pat Gorham have always been there for any help or assistance I've needed. And I have to say again, the incredible job done by the GAA and the MIBN, putting together for 3 years in a row the GAA Games and the Business Forum. Again, hats off to a very small team of great people. This is the second ball in a week. It's a tough job being the ambassador. And last weekend we were in Penang, and that was just really amazing. 300 people, at the dinner, and we have Maggie Terrett with us here this evening, and Barry. Hats off. And I tell you what's even more interesting is that Maggie and Barry put together a most beautiful book on the Irish in Penang. And on Saturday last, when we had the second Irish parade in Penang, I had pleasure in discussing the book with the Chief Minister of Penang, who was a guest at the parade and stayed there for nearly 2 hours. So he was very interested to hear about the Irish connections in Penang. And again, I explained to him that this book was put together with no assistance from anybody in officialdom, just the dedicated interest of two people who are proud of their Irishness. So ladies and gentlemen, again, hats off to Penang. As I say every year, this is not an occasion for a long speech or an economic speech or whatever, but being the Irish ambassador, you'll permit me just a couple of moments to say about how things are back home. When I first spoke here in 2011, we were having a very difficult time, to put it mildly. It wasn't a very easy time. Unemployment had soared to nearly 15%, and we had a program from the IMF, which was quite difficult. However, the change in the last 4 years has been nothing short of remarkable. Just take a couple of key figures. Last year, Ireland had the fastest growing economy in the European Union with growth of 4.8%, and the projection for this year is to be over 4%. That alone is a very interesting figure because just 5 years ago we had a dramatic dip in our GDP. On the borrowing front, we are now back with all of the agencies and rated investment grade A with most of the agencies. Again, that's a remarkable achievement for the Irish people. Throughout the entire period, inward investment continued at a great pace. And today, Dublin and the rest of the country are booming. Down around the docks area, we basically have what we're now referring to back in Ireland as the Silicon Docks. Because anybody who's anybody, all of the born on the internet companies, 9 out of the top 10 top tech companies, 9 out of the top 10 software companies, and 14 out of the top 15 pharmaceutical companies have major operations in Ireland. We also have a substantial financial services centre. And just 2 weeks ago, Apple announced an €850 million data centre which is going to be located in Galway. So it is all coming together for us at the moment. I should also say, and it's a point I'd like to make here this evening with my colleague, the British High Commissioner, sometimes people underestimate the extent of the relationship, the commercial relationship between Britain and Ireland. Just looking at some figures in the last few days, every week two-way trade is worth €1 billion. €1 billion. And it keeps 400,000 jobs going in Britain and Ireland, roughly 200,000 in each country, with investment both ways. We have a remarkable, remarkable commercial relationship, often underestimated by people who really don't know how extensive it is. You are probably following Bloomberg or the financial papers in the last few days. You'll see that the euro is weakening against most of the currencies. So this is a very, very good time. If you haven't been to Ireland, this is a very good time to come to Ireland. And if you look, you want to Google something very quickly, Google the Wild Atlantic Way, which is a new concept put together by the Tourist Board, which is basically just identifying for ease of purpose on when you go on your computer from Donegal down to Cork in the southwest of Ireland. And if you're on that trip down from the north to the south, don't forget to call into Belmullet, and you might come across a Healy Max, because they're sprouting up all over the world at the moment. The most recent one being in Jalan-Ampang, so you might even see one there. We were up there in Penang last weekend, and congrats to Liam, I know he's here somewhere this evening. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm finishing my visits to the Irish Society, to the St. Patrick's Dinner, on a high note for the country. But most of all, I'm finishing it with a sincere thanks on behalf of myself and Anne to all of the St. Patrick's Societies, to Jeff, to Dee, to Orna, Fiona, and tonight to Sandra, who looked after Anne and myself so well for the last 5 years. And finally, before I leave the stage, the President this evening said that she forgot to thank her partner, John. And I said, listen, on an evening like this, President, you are forgiven anything. But if it makes you feel better, I will mention it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope I haven't forgot to thank anybody. Everybody connected with this dinner, everybody connected with St. Patrick's, with the GAA, with MIBN, all of the Irish companies here, OpenNet, Steripack, Kerry, everybody who's been a help to me, I just want to say Gura Míle Maith. And I just want to end up by wishing everybody a very happy St. Patrick's Day and enjoy the rest of the evening. And let's hope we get the result in Cardiff.
Thank you, Ambassador, for that rousing address. We'll be holding a formal farewell for you and Anne on the 2nd of May. And we'll hopefully see many of our tonight's guests at that event. On behalf of the Society and its members, I would like to thank you for being such a strong supporter of the Society and the entire Irish community in KL. You and Anne will be greatly missed. Thank you very much, Ambassador.
Alliances is all about winning together. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, Reverend Sister, ladies and gentlemen, now it's time to business. Business class, in fact. Our grand prize tonight is 2 business class flights from Kuala Lumpur to any Etihad online destination. This fabulous prize is donated by Etihad Airways. I would now like to invite our Society President, Sarah Wheeler-Tan, to the stage, along with Dave Walsh, General Manager of Etihad Malaysia, to draw the winning ticket.
All right, folks, here we go. Unfortunately, John has forgotten to bring my ticket and put it in the bowl, so John and I will not be getting a flight to Etihad. So, Dave, what is the number?
Okay, lads. 143.
If no 143, I know my number is 002. Oh. No, they will be here. One more time. Was it 143?
Oh, yeah, 143.
143. Where are you? I can hear a clap, but I can't see a body. No, no clap. Oh, for goodness sake! Lorraine is a fix. Woo-hoo! Yes! Where's the hug?
Like the legend of the phoenix.
Definitely a fix.
All ends with beginnings.
Give him the mic.
I'd just like to say thank you very much for the ticket, but I'd also like to thank Etihad for sponsoring the KL Tigers, because they do a massive job for the KL Tigers, and they are a great supporter of the team. So thank you very much. And me and my mistress are going to Kathmandu. Yeah, sorry, Lorraine.
I'm gonna kill him later.
I'm up all night to get lucky. We're up all night to the sun. We're up all night to get some. We're up all night for good fun.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, Reverend Sister, ladies and gentlemen, we are delighted to welcome this evening Liam Healy from Healy Max, the generous sponsor of our Shebeen. I would now like to invite His Excellency Declan Kelly and his wife Anne, President Sarah Wheeler-Tan, and our other distinguished guests to move to the Shebeen. Liam and Lisa, will you please join them in the procession? And once there, we invite you to officially declare the Shebeen open. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the formal part of the evening. Before signing off, I'd just like to remind all that it's Mother's Day in Ireland tomorrow, so don't forget to make that call. And thank you for joining us tonight and being such wonderful guests. Guramila Mahagav Galair. Without further ado, please welcome the folksmen DC, who are joining us for the 10th consecutive ball. They're going to play 2 sets here, and then from about 2 a.m. they continue on in the Selangor room until the early hours. Ihawa, ladies and gentlemen, the folksmen DC!
Tim Finnegan lived on Watling Street, a gentle Irishman, mighty odd. In a beautiful brogue, so rich and sweet, to rise in the world he carried a heart. She puts him in a tippling way. With love for the nigger puts him was born. To help him along with his work he stayed. He'd drop in the equator every morning. Back from his island dance to be a part of the home of the Lord. What a day, wasn't it true? Like so did lots of fun and did he get away. Back from his island dance to be a part of the home of the Lord. What a shame, wasn't it true? Like so did lots of fun and did he get away. Fell from the ladder and he broke his skull. The broken home that crossed the way. Rolled him up in a nice neat sheet. Lay him out upon the bed. Turned the whiskey at his feet and a gallon of water at his head. Back from me down and dance me upon around the Roy. What a shame, wasn't it the truth? That soldier loves that fun and did it well. Back from me down and dance with your partner around the floor and try to shake. What's what it is, the truth, they told you lots of fun and baby, ho! Assembled at the wake, Mrs. Finnegan called for lunch. First she pulled out tea and cake, ginger pie and a whiskey punch. And the man began to cry. Such a fine course did you ever see? Tim May Marie, why did you die? Hold your gob, said Paddy McGee. Back from me there and dancing with your man around the blood in sun and sea. Wasn't it the truth? They told you lots of fun and made it great. Back from me there and dancing with your man around the blood in sun and sea. Wasn't it the truth? They told you lots of fun and made it great. She said, I'm sure. And she belted her on the grab and left her sprawling on the floor. Then the war had soon again, woman to woman and man to man. Shillelagh law was all the rage, and a row and a ruckus soon began. Back from me there and dancing with your band around the floor in Chorley.